Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just jump right in, because today we are looking at one of the greatest and frankly most hilarious ironies in modern intelligence history. Think about the CIA for a second. This is an agency literally built from the ground up on global secrets, massive intelligence networks, and world-class code breaking. And yet, since November of 1990, the absolute brightest minds at the CIA have been completely, totally stumped by a copper sculpture sitting right in their very own courtyard. It's a masterpiece of cryptography, and it's known simply as Kryptos. I mean, it really sounds like the setup to a joke, doesn't it? How does the CIA get stumped by a piece of art? But it's no joke. For over 35 years, we've seen top intelligence analysts, global cryptographic communities, and even the world's most advanced supercomputers crash like waves against the final section of artist Jim Sanborn's sculpture. It was originally commissioned back in the late 80s to reflect the whole theme of intelligence gathering. But Sanborn delivered a puzzle so fiendishly clever that it has literally outlasted the specific generation of spies it was built to inspire. To understand why this thing is just so incredibly resilient, we actually have to look at how it was made. Now, Sanborn wasn't a cryptographer himself, so he spent 4 months working alongside a retired CIA cryptographer named Ed Scheidt to design these codes. Together, they inscribed about 1,800 characters into an S-shaped copper screen. But, they didn't just make one flat code. They designed the sculpture to unravel in layers, kind of like peeling an onion. Sanborn actually had this famous quote about it. He said, "They will be able to read what I wrote, but what I wrote is a mystery itself." Part 1, breaking the first 3 codes, a false sense of security. Okay, so let's look at how the intelligence community initially tackled this beast, and how their early victories actually set them up for literally decades of frustration. Take this declassified 1992 NSA memorandum, for example. It shows that this wasn't just some casual weekend puzzle for hobbyists. The sheer weight of the United States government was applied to cracking this artwork. In response to a direct challenge from the CIA, a super secretive NSA team went to work, and by the end of 1992, they successfully decoded the first 3 sections, which we call K1, K2, and K3. A bit later on in the late 90s, CIA analyst David Stein and computer scientist Jim Gligley also cracked these sections independently, using a mix of old-school pencil and paper techniques and some early computer algorithms. So on the right half of the copper screen, Sanborn included a Vigenère table, which is a classic 16th century cryptographic tool. But, and here's the sneaky part, he intentionally flipped it so it can only be read from the back of the sculpture. Using this chart system, combined with some matrix coding and route transposition, the CIA and NSA really proved they are indeed world-class codebreakers. They decrypted these beautiful passages about subtle shading, the Earth's magnetic field, and even a dramatic diary entry about opening an ancient tomb. All in all, they cracked 865 letters. They were totally on a roll. Part 2, the 97-character brick wall, the K4 Enigma. Now, this is exactly where the triumph comes to a screeching, humiliating halt. 97. That is the number of characters that make up the 4th section, K4. And I really, really want to emphasize the supreme irony here. Just 97 characters stand between the CIA and total victory over their own courtyard decor. Yet, this tiny, stubborn little passage has resisted absolutely every single cryptanalytic approach thrown at it for over 3 decades. I mean, it is a literal cryptographic brick wall. Over the years, seeing the entire global community just completely stuck, Jim Sanborn actually took pity on the codebreakers. So periodically, he dropped these textual clues, confirming certain plain text words hidden within K4. First, he gave us Berlin, then clock, followed by northeast, and finally east. Codebreakers frantically mapped these to the ciphertext, hoping to reverse engineer the encryption method. But spoiler alert, even with these massive hints, that 97-character brick wall remained perfectly intact. There's this declassified NSA document, dramatically titled "The Fourth Breakthrough," yes, with the question marks, that provides pretty stark proof of this top-secret government-level frustration. The analysts essentially admitted they had no solution. And nature abhors a vacuum, right? The void of an answer led to incredibly complex theories from the cryptography community. You had academic researchers like Richard Bean exploring the possibility of a Gromark cipher, while theorists like Kevin L. Brown proposed a sun stencil ground projection system, basically suggesting the sculpture itself acts as a giant shadow puppet that only reveals the answer when combined with perfectly timed sunlight and compass coordinates. They all tried, and well, they all fell short. Part 3. Found, but not solved, the 2025 plot twist. So,
Just when it seemed like K4 was going to remain a mystery forever, the narrative accelerates into a truly shocking revelation. Jumping from those early victories in the 1990s all the way to September 2025, the text of K4 was finally unearthed. But here is the wild part. It wasn't uncovered by supercomputers, and it definitely wasn't cracked by a team of CIA analysts. It was discovered because of a clerical error. Yeah, a typo, basically. Two independent researchers, Jared Kobeck and Richard Byrne, visited the Smithsonian's Archives of American Art and found 5 pages of scrambled text that Jim Sanborn had accidentally slipped into a document donation.
Now, the crucial point here is understanding exactly what it was they found. See, back in 1990, Sanborn had to prove to the CIA that his sculpture wasn't hiding any offensive messages or state secrets, but he outright refused to give them the actual decryption method. So he cut his plaintext sentences into strips, scrambled them all up, and just showed the CIA the fragments. It was these exact scrambled fragments that the researchers stumbled across in 2025. They were able to piece them together using the public clues to recover the plaintext. But, and this is a huge but, they did not crack the cipher. They don't have the encryption key, they don't have the coding charts, and they don't know the method.
Kryptos researcher Ilanka Dunnan summed this up with an absolutely brilliant analogy. She said, if someone finds a completed crossword puzzle in the trash, they didn't solve it, they just found the answers. And the researchers themselves completely agree with that assessment. Recovering the plain text from a dusty archive box is amazing, for sure, but K4 is still officially considered an unsolved cryptographic puzzle because the actual math and method remain a total mystery.
Part 4. The K5 Revelation. The onion has another layer. Just when you think you've reached the core of the mystery, Sanborn pulls the rug out and reveals that K4 isn't even the end of the line. In November 2025, Sanborn, who was facing some health challenges, decided to auction off his entire Kryptos archive to support disability programs. The bidding war was fierce. It entirely blew past the pre-sale estimates. An anonymous buyer paid a staggering $962,500 at an RR auction. Think about that for a second. Somebody essentially paid nearly $1 million to own the ultimate secret that the entire Central Intelligence Agency couldn't crack in 35 years of trying. So, what does $1 million actually buy you in the cryptography world? Well, the winner received the actual K4 decryption method and key, the original 1988 coding charts, and a private multi-hour walkthrough session with Sanborn himself to explain exactly how it all works. But the absolute biggest bombshell in that auction lot, it was K5. Sanborn revealed that K4 merely points in the direction of an unpublished conceptual continuation of the puzzle known as K5. The onion literally has another layer that no one even knew existed. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to wrap up our explainer today. If a mere 97 characters in K4 could stump the world's most elite intelligence agency, cutting-edge supercomputers, and thousands of dedicated codebreakers for 35 long years, is K5 going to outlast us all? The ultimate irony remains intact. The world's most famous unsolved code is still sitting right there, gleaming in the sun, in the front yard of the very people whose entire job it is to know everything. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes open. You never know where the next clue might be hiding.